Hey everybody, it's Matt from the house, and in this video we're going to show you a few of our favorite split boards for the 21-22 season. Let's check these out. First up, we've got the Burton Hometown Hero Split. This is an amazing board. It comes from the Hometown Hero, which is a standard board in Burton's line. It's basically that all-mountain, go anywhere, do anything board for somebody that's probably not riding the park, but incredibly versatile shape. Well, we've got a little bit of a wider nose. We got that taper where basically the nose is wider than the tail. Also, the kick is a little bit longer in the nose than it is in the tail too. So when you get this thing into some deep snow, it does want to sit down in the back. It wants to raise up in the front and basically make it a little easier to ride pow all day long. But a pretty rad board. That in combination with the carbon highlights that they put in this thing makes it really, really easy to turn. Basically, the board does a little bit more of the work for you and gives you that aggressive feel without feeling overly aggressive. And there also is an X version of this in the Split too. So basically, it's the same Hometown Hero shape. It's the split board version, but the X version is just the lighter weight mystery construction that Burton does in their high-end mystery boards. But again, great all-mountain, go anywhere, do anything board. And obviously just a split board version for hiking in the backcountry. All right, next up, we've got the Orca Split from Libtech. The Orca is definitely one of the best-selling Libtech boards, I'd say probably ever. Got a great following behind it, mainly because it is an all-mountain board. Even though it has that longer, wider nose, that shorter, narrower tail to sit down in the powder, if you actually go from contact point to contact point, it's pretty incredible how close this board actually rides to a twin-tip board when you ride it on flat snow. So obviously, if you've got a board that crushes powder and the rest of the mountain, we want to make a split board version of it as well. So whether you're hiking up and riding those, flatter groomed trails, or you're getting into the deep snow, you want something that's going to perform really well. Another big thing about this one is just like with the regular Orca, we're doing a volume shift to 3 centimeters. So you're going to buy this thing 3 centimeters shorter than you usually would. Basically gives you a little bit smaller board, a little bit more nimble board. Great for getting into the trees too. All right, next up, we've got the Jones Mountain Twin Split. So Jones is really known for obviously the boards that they make for free riding, but they do have all mountain boards with park capabilities. And that's why I wanted to bring this one out. It's a pretty unique board. A lot of the boards you usually see in split boards are directional boards. This one is actually a directional twin, so it's slightly directional. But this is more for those guys that are hiking up and they are riding the backcountry, but you might be jumping and landing switch. You might want something that can ride both directions, and this board is fully capable of doing that. So we're basically taking that board that is very versatile and making a split version of it. Another thing that's pretty cool about the Jones boards too is their traction tech, which they put on pretty much all of their boards, where the outside is basically lifted up at your feet. And why it's important on their split boards is not only do they have it here for when you're carving on those harder, icier conditions, if you look down the middle of the board and you actually look at the cut, it's actually not a straight cut. They actually do an inner traction tech on this too. So when you're hiking up on those icier skin tracks, you're actually helping to get you a little bit of grip on those as well. Okay, next up is the K2 Freeloader package. So I had to leave this one in the plastic because it actually comes with a little bit more than just the board. This board actually does include the pucks, and it also includes pre-cut skins too. So pretty cool thing is when you're hiking and you're splitting your board apart, you're gonna need those skins so you're not sliding backwards. But obviously the pucks are there to mount the bindings. These are the pucks for the spark bindings. So when you do buy spark bindings, good note is if your board doesn't have pucks, you're going to need to buy the puck separate. But a board like this actually comes already ready to go. So as if that wasn't cool enough, this board obviously rides amazing too. We've got a little bit more rocker in the nose. We've actually got a wider nose, narrower, shorter tail. So this thing does want to float when you get in some deep snow. And another really cool thing about this too is the tech. This actually has their snowphobic top sheet, which is basically a top sheet the snow doesn't want to stick to, and why that's important when you're hiking. Obviously, if you're just walking, you're carrying one of these, half of the board on each of your feet, you don't want to have to carry any extra weight, so it actually helps the snow, to not stick to the top, which does get very heavy after a while. Also, we're doing a carbon-infused fiberglass, and we're doing a carbon base on this thing, so it's a super fast board, and it also has a lot of liveliness and a lot of spring and pop to it too, not just off jumps, but in and out of your turns. All right, next board up is the Capita Neo Slasher. This is one of my favorite looking boards. The Capita boards always look amazing once you take them out of the wrapper. Aside from just the looks, this thing is an incredible split board. So you can obviously see right off of the bat, we do have a much narrower, shorter tail. We do have that wider nose, pretty standard on a lot of the boards that are, you're taking out of bounds, because you do want something that's gonna sit down and float big in the nose. Another cool thing with this board is a lot of the standard high-end stuff from Capita. We're doing their triaxle holy sheet fiberglass in this thing, so it's very lively. It's something that pushes you in and out of your turns. And if that wasn't enough, they're actually doing their Amplitech stringers in this thing too, to give you that extra spring, extra pop, and also to make sure that this board isn't gonna mush on you when you get it into some deep snow. So again, great all mountain ride, something that does excel in the powder, but if there's no power, it's getting tracked out, you can still leave your bindings on this thing and ride the rest of the hill. All right, and lastly, we've got the Chamonix Route Split board. So this is actually a version of one of their regular boards. You take the Chamonix Route and you do a split version of it. So obviously we've got a very directional shape on this thing. We got that nice big wide nose, we got that narrow tail, but they've also added a little bit of a swallow, so even more to get that board down. And this basically makes it so when you're standing on this thing, you don't have to lean back. You can stand pretty centered on it, and with all of that technology and all that shaping, the board is going to want to sit way down in the snow. On top of that, we also do a Route, and this is actually the Route Carbon. So you'll obviously notice from the top sheet on this thing, this is the carbon version, which is incredibly lightweight. It's a couple more bucks compared to the regular Route version, but again, if you got that extra money to spend when you're hiking around in these things and you're walking with basically half a board on either foot, you want the least amount of weight possible. And for the price, this thing is really hard to beat. All right, well, thanks for checking out a few of our favorite split boards for the 21-22 season. Obviously, we can't show you all of them because then the video would be 10 hours long. But if you got any questions about these boards or any of the split boards that we have at thehouse.com, leave some comments down below. We're on there every single day trying to answer your questions. We want to make sure we get you into some rad boards, but most importantly, we want to make sure that they're going to fit you and your riding style. Also, make sure to like, subscribe, definitely get that bell on too so you can find out when all the new videos drop. And no matter what kind of split board you're riding, whether you're riding switch or you're just out for a leisurely cruise, grab yourself a split board, get out in the back country and ride, because any day of riding is a good day of riding.